Come on in, man. I was just taking some notes. Got to stay proactive over here. But the reason why I'm doing this live stream, is I want to help someone out there. If anyone needs help, basically, you just got your CDL license and you're trying to figure out what carrier should you go with, a big carrier or a smaller carrier. I've worked with when I have a year over about a year on my CDL license now, and I have worked with smaller carriers, larger carriers, medium carriers, all the carriers you could think of. And my honest opinion, I believe if you just got your license, first and foremost, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to find a good paying trucking job, because a lot of these companies, they come out here, and a lot of these companies, they look at your trucking experience on your license. If you don't know that, so you got your CDL license, you did all the hard work, you did your 4 weeks, got your license, you're trying to figure out, and now you're going on to your next step. What's going to be the next move? And you're filling out trucking applications here, there, and then they hit you with this. How many years of experience you have on your license? Of course, you got zero. You don't even have 1 month yet. You probably don't even have 2 months yet. And a lot of these companies that you want to go drive for are not going to accept you because you don't have the experience on your license. But that doesn't mean you're not going to be able to join a company that would accept you. So what happened is a lot of these major carriers that do accept you with no experience on your license, like some major carrier, U.S. Express is going to accept you. Warner's going to accept you. Stevens Trucking's going to accept you. Whatever major carrier. JB Hunt might accept you, right? There's a lot of major carriers that's going to accept you with zero experience on your license. But here's the catch: you're not going to get paid. You're really not going to get paid your first few months because you're brand new. You're going to have to go through a trainer, and your trainer is going to take majority of your money because you're going to get paid a set salary. Some is different. You might get paid 150 a day, 170 a day, whatever the set schedule of however that larger carrier is going to set you up with, right? And let me see if I could put this up. I'm actually waiting. I'm waiting at the carrier again, and I'm gonna tell you some stuff. Anyways, you're not going to get accepted, right? And if you do get accepted, these carriers, these larger carriers, are going to put you through the ringer. You're gonna be doing a lot of stuff. You're gonna be driving all around the coast, and when you get your first paycheck, you only made $600, $900, or you only made $1,000, which is nothing. That's peanuts compared to what you can make. But they do have smaller carriers, right? Like if you go to Chicago, if you go everywhere in the whole state of the whole United States have smaller carriers that could probably take you. So, is it better to go with a larger carrier and a smaller carrier? Well, here's the pros and cons. For a larger carrier, if you don't mind putting in the work, I got my CDL 2 years ago and started with Ava and Express. How was it? When you first started at Ava and Express, how was the pay? Did you like working at Ava and Express? Are you still with Ava and Express? And if you're not with Ava and Express, write in the comments why you left Ava and Express. Because a lot of these carriers, like I said, if you bust your butt, like for instance, this is a carrier, Variant, they're at U.S. Express, and they got a lot of loads, but they have a lot of trucks as well, which means they have a lot of drivers, and sometimes what happens is you become a number. So when you call up your fleet manager or your dispatcher, I started at 8 and now I'm up to 12 to 1800 a week. You see? Started making $800 a week. Now you're at 12 to 18 a week. How long did it take you to get to 12 to 1800 a week? So when you get with these larger carriers, you're going to be in the same predicament. You're going to be busting your butt. You're going to be driving constantly. You're going to be going to state, different type of climates and different type of weather. And it took about a year of hard work, right? And just to get up to 12 to $1,800 a week, which is not bad. You know what I mean? As long as you bust your butt. But you're a number in the beginning. A lot of these fleet managers, a lot of these dispatchers, they want to see how you run. And like for instance, while I remember one time I was with a major carrier, I drove 1,100 miles. Now, was it my fault I drove 1,100 miles? No. Sometimes you go to these shippers, your load's not ready, Sometimes you're the carrier's trying to send you back home so you can take a reset or whatever case may be. I only made $600. Sucked. You know what I'm saying? But I was actually with a team company. It was a smaller carrier, and I was making $12,000. 12,000. Sorry, hold on. I was making $2,000, $2,000 a week salary. So if I drove, it doesn't matter if I drove 800 miles that week or if I drove 3,000 miles that week. I was making 12. Why do I keep saying 12, man? I'm giving y'all too much information. But anyways, I was making $2,000 a week with that smaller carrier. He was the con of that smaller carrier. They end up shutting down because a lot of these smaller carriers, they're what they are. They don't have the manpower to run a lot of their drivers. They push you, push you, push you, push you, push you, and to the end, they end up shutting down. They end up not getting the money, the revenues to keep up with their trucks, keep up with maintenance, keep up with gas, all that good stuff, and they end up shutting down. And a lot of these larger carriers know that. They know you don't have any experience on your license. They know that you're fresh. They know you're looking for a job because a lot of us, right? A lot of us get our license and we need to work because we've been out of work for a month. You know what I mean? And bills are still coming. So you're going to take whatever you can take, but you got to slow down. You got to be patient. You want to really vent out your options. The best way to vent out your option is there's an app called Driver Pulse. You can download it on your Android, you can download it on your iPhone, and basically what Driver Pulse does, you can fill it all in, right? Put in your clearinghouse and all that good stuff, and it'll give you lists of carriers all around the country. If you're looking for flatbed work, if you're looking for drive van work, reefer, whatever kind of work you want to do, oversized, whatever, you can vent these carriers out. You can look up their reviews on Google and all that good stuff, and you can see which one actually fits your particular situation. Another good thing about Driver Pulse also is that you can basically filter your experience. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I got 3 to 6 months experience. I got 0 to 3 months experience. I have 12 months experience. I have 2 years experience. And they'll go ahead and pick the best carriers on the app. They'll pick the best carriers that will take your experience. But working for a major carrier, you're a number, you know. And a lot of times when you call your fleet manager, you got to give them your name and truck number because they don't know who you are. But when I was working with a smaller carrier, they knew who I was. I just called them up. Hey, what's up? Da da da. What's going on? Woo, 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 woo. Hey, man, the load's not ready. Find me another load because I'm not dealing with this. With a major carrier, hey, the load's not ready. I need to make some miles this week and find me another load. Nah, they don't work like that. You're going to wait right there until we tell you what to do. It's pros and cons. You know, what I mean, it's definitely a pro and con. But with a major carrier, if your truck breaks down, 9 out of 10 they can get it fixed like that. 9 out of 10 they get you back on the road. You know what I mean? They have departments that handle situation like that. They have departments that handles the what you call it, the compliance. You know what I mean? Smaller carriers, they don't really have departments that handle compliance. It's basically day by day situation. But I say get with a carrier that's a smaller carrier but operate under major carriers. There's a lot of smaller carriers that are tied in with a major carriers, meaning that they have their own loads but they also can utilize the major carrier load boards. And with those smaller carriers, you're not a number. You're not another person. You can contact them 24/7. They're gonna answer your phone and they're gonna get to the bottom of it. But like I said, if you just got your license, yeah, that's typically what's gonna happen. You're gonna might get lucky and get 1,200 to 1,500 to 2,000. I advise if you just got your license, if you have a friend of yours that you know, team drive. You know, what I mean, your first 10 months, team drive. Even if you don't really have a friend, but you trust this company to have a good review, team drive. You know, what I mean, a lot of these team driver companies are salary based. They're going to pay you a particular amount, whatever you guys agree on, every week. And I love that comfortability. Whereas I knew I was making $2,000 every week, no matter what happens. I knew that if this truck breaks down or if we have to sit for 2 or 3 days, I'm still getting the same amount every week, and it was easy for me to kind of analyze my weekly expense, my monthly bills, and all that stuff. As far as when you actually driving with major carriers, you don't know what could happen. Your paycheck varies time to times. It all depends on the miles you get. A lot of these major carriers are really by the book, which they should be. Where which I mean by, if you run out of time and you can't find the safe haven, and the next safe haven might be 40, 50, 100 miles from here, you're going to shut down at a rest area. You're going to shut down where you're going to shut down. They're not going to give you that personal convenience to get to that spot. You feel what I'm saying? And they're really by the book. But major carry, it all depends on you too. I mean, what are you trying to do? You know, what are you try what's your goals? Are you comfortable at starting at $800 or $900 or $1,000 a week, and then work up? You know what I mean? Um, are you trying to become an owner operator within the next few years? If you are trying to become an owner operator, then yeah, get with the major carrier, learn the routes, figure out what what I mean, take notes on how much money you spend on gas. Like me, I have a Pilot rewards card. I have a Love's rewards card. Every time I go fill up, I swipe that rewards card. Thank you for the like. I swipe that rewards card, and at the end of the week, I can kind of see how much I spent on gas, and I can kind of see how I can gauge it. Like a lot of carriers, they don't want you to go all the way to the E, then fill up your tank because it costs more. So they rather you go at least by the half tank, then go fill up your tank. So you can keep flowing. So there's a science behind running a truck, and if you want to be an owner operator, then I know you don't want to make $1,800. You want to make what these owner operators tell you that they're making. You know what I mean? Some of them are making 3,000 a week, 4,000 a week, but at the same time, you don't know how much their truck insurance costs. You don't know how much they're leasing their trailer. You don't know how much their truck costs. You don't know how much they're paying for maintenance. So yeah, you're making big money, but you got bigger expense. So would I go with the if I had to start all over again? Nah, I'll go to a smaller carrier. Smaller carriers are the best to start with. They allow you to experience a lot more. You know, they kind of let you out there. Major carriers are on your butt. You're on training wheels. You're on eggshells every day because you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to do this and that, which is good. Trust me. Don't. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's good that they're on you like that. But these smaller carriers, you have more of an opportunity to scale up because, I mean, when I say smaller carriers, all these smaller carriers have 50 to 100 to 200 trucks. That's not a major carrier. Major carriers having about 1,200, 1,500, sometimes 3,000, 4,000 trucks, 13,000 trailers, 16,000 trailers. Like right now, UPS is the largest trucking company in America as far as trailers and trucks and all that stuff. But I say go to a smaller carrier. If you can find you a smaller carrier, a mom and pop carrier that pays on time, that's the number one thing. A lot of these smaller carriers too, depending who you go to, and I'm not gonna say what country, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of these smaller carriers, get ready for those text messages that says, "Hey, sorry that you're not going to get paid this Friday. Something's going on with our bank. Monday, or hopefully you'll get your money on Monday." Get used to stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Major carrier, you kind of know it's instant. You're gonna get paid when they tell you you're gonna get paid. You're not gonna hear. You're not gonna get those text messages that says, "Hey, you're not gonna be paid this Friday. You're gonna have to wait till next week." You're not gonna get those messages. But I say start with a smaller carrier. I also say team drive. I mean, if you have a friend or a family member that has their CDL license and they don't mind team driving with you for a couple months, then become a team driver. Drive with them. You know what I mean? Learn how to drive the night shift. Learn how to drive the morning shift. Learn how to drive the afternoon shift. When I first started, I hated the night shift. I was like, nah, I'm a morning person because where I come from, where the job that I came from, I started at 5 a.m. every day and I got off at 5 p.m. every day. 12-hour shift from 5 to 5 every day for 3 years straight. You know what I mean? So when I got into trucking, I was already conditioned to I was a morning person and I shut down in the afternoon. So when I started doing team driving, there was times where we'll shut down and we're waiting at the shipper. my partner put his time on sleeper berth, which eats up his 3 hour extra 3 hours, and then it pushed my time back to the night shift, and I hated the night shift. But at one point, I had to tell myself, I got to get used to driving that night shift. I got to get used to driving in the morning shift. I got to get used to driving in the afternoon shift. And right now, I actually love driving at night. I can drive at any time. If I have to drive in the morning, I could drive in the morning. If I have to drive in the afternoon, I could drive in the afternoon. If I drive at nighttime, I could drive at nighttime. I actually like driving at nighttime because there's less people on the road, and less people on the road. It's quiet. You can listen to your podcast. You can listen to inspirations. You can learn new things that you always want to learn by going on YouTube or whatever the case may be. It's a lot quieter at night, but I had to adjust to that. I have to learn. I had to change my sleeping patterns. When I knew I had to drive at nighttime, I didn't play around. I wasn't on my phone, on Instagram, and all that stuff. I went to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Went to sleep for about 6 hours. Woke up. I was ready to go. So get used to that with team driving. You don't know when you're going to start. Another thing you got to get used to team driving is a lot of the times you're going to be out for 4 weeks at a time. Sometimes 2 months, and you got to adjust to that. Being away from home for so long, and being able to overcome that. Another thing is sometimes your partner might shut down at a rest stop. You wake up, you're in the middle of the road. There's no showers. You lucky if you get a toilet to use. You know what I'm saying? And you got to utilize stuff like this. I'm about to come out with some blogs on the best stuff to buy, but you got to use like stuff like this. It's called cold showers. I don't use it. I just opened it yesterday because I like to shower. You know what I'm saying? Broker talk like the shower. But it's stuff like this. You use this like for those emergency times where you are unable to get to the shower, but there's no reason why you should be stinking up the truck. All right. So get used to stuff like that. And I'm gonna start coming up with some blogs on some good stuff to buy. Like these headphones, these are the Blue Parrots. If you haven't, you can buy them at any truck stop. But I also know a place where you can get cheaper Blue Parrots. I had this about a year since I have this headset. Might get a new one, but I don't really need to. Also, getting you like a travel kit for those days. Like if you get stuck on the side of the road, you got your mouthwash, you got your deodorant, you got your shampoo, all that stuff. You can buy stuff like this at Walmart, but I know where you can get it cheaper on Amazon. So there's a lot of adjustment to it. But like I said, you just got your license. You can do like the guy, right? The guy that said he worked for Avon Express, where he was making $800 a week, and he been there for about 2 years, and he went up to $1,800, and that's good money. Making $1,800 a week, you can pay your rent or your mortgage with one paycheck, depending on where you live at, right? So that's where you want to get to. So trucking is not a instant money making machine when you first start. Trucking takes time, just like everything else. And the first thing you want to understand is picking the right carrier to drive for. Don't be in a rush. Don't try to, hey, my friend said I can make 70 cents with this company, or I can make da 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 over here. Don't chase the money with trucking. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Do not chase the money. Because when you start chasing the money in trucking, you're gonna realize you're gonna go through 8 different companies because you're never satisfied. You're never going to be satisfied. You want to be able, you want to chase a niche. You want to chase something that you're going to be passionate about that you can work at. Maybe you like flatbed. Maybe you worked in construction, and all you saw was flatbed truckers coming through, dropping out cement blocks, wood pallets, whatever the case may be. Maybe you like reefer. You know what I mean? Maybe your dad was or mother was a farmer, and you remember seeing them slaughtering the meat and put it in reefer trucks. Maybe you worked at Walmart and you always seen the reefer trucks. Find something that you're gonna be passionate about. You know what I mean? Something that you don't mind waking up every morning, every night, every afternoon, whatever time your appointment is, that you're gonna be happy behind that wheel. Don't chase the money. You know what I mean? And that's why I say when you get your license, do your research. You know what I mean? Getting your license is just the first spot start. You know what I mean? And on top of that, if you depend what kind of schooling you go to, you're gonna have a lot of recruiters coming to your school. Milton is one of them. They're gonna come. Maverick's gonna come. Warner's gonna come. U.S. Express is gonna come. Steven Truck is gonna come. You know, what I mean, all these major carriers are gonna start coming to your school. They're gonna tell you how much the great benefits that their drivers are making and blah 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 blah. Why you should come to them. Come down, young grasshopper. Do your research, grab your brochures, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask these recruiter questions. I remember Coca-Cola came and they were telling, I mean, they were selling the dream. They made it seem like, man, this was where it's at. And when I asked a question, I'm like, so how many stops do you guys do a day? And it stunned the recruiter. He was like, uh, well, it all depends on your route. No, 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 no. I ain't asked about the route. How many stops in average do y'all do a day? Now, like Cisco, if you guys see Cisco, they out there, they do the same thing. Local drivers, right? These guys are making like, man, 100 stops. I'll say from 20 to 100 stops. They got over a thousand of cases in that back of that trailer. And guess what? You got to deliver each one of those cases. And sometimes you have to stock up. You ever walk in your grocery stores and you seen like a nice design Super Bowl Coca-Cola platform or stock where they got the signs and the balloons and all that? Guess who has to do that? The trucker. The trucker who's delivering those products, you have to be able to restock and do all this extra stuff. You got to deal with um the managers not being there on time, and those are stuff that I asked. And then when I asked about the price, it was like $17 an hour. Nah, bro, I'm not. Nah, bro, no, 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 nah, bro. No, no, no. I'm not gonna do all that. I'm not doing manual labor right now, man. I'm not doing manual labor like that. I'm talking about you in and out the truck. Nah, 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 nah. We ain't doing that. So do your research, ask questions. If you're lucky to have family or friends that have been in the trucking game, ask them questions. That's your first year. You should be asking all the questions you need to ask. There's never a dumb question. You know what I'm saying? Before you make that commitment, because when you get behind the wheel, you're making a commitment. You're telling that company that you are here 100%. You're going to do your job correctly and safely, and this is what you want to do. Don't ever want to chase the money because sometimes the money's not going to be worth it. You know what I'm saying? I got a friend of mine that went through 9 trucking companies last year. 9 trucking companies last year because he was chasing the money. And when he got a year in his license, right, and he was looking for another company, a lot of companies started to deny him because he been through 9 different companies. That's a red flag to a lot of these good paying trucking companies because one, you're telling them that if things go sour, if things go wrong, you're gonna jump ship. Thank you for the light. You're gonna jump ship. You're not gonna be 100% dedicated to them, and that's what these trucking companies, especially these smaller carriers, want. They're starting out just like you starting out, majority of them, and some of them already been in the game 5, 10, 20 years, or whatever the case may be. You feel what I'm saying? Was Thank you for the light. Some of them been starting 10, 15 years, and they want dedicated people, and they'll pay you well. So don't allow these carriers, recruiters, to beef your head up. I say do your research. Now, I'm not saying that like Avon Express might not be a good fit for you. I'm not saying JB Hunt might not be a good fit for you. I'm not saying that these smaller carriers might not be a good for you. Thank you for the like. But what I am saying is that do your research, your due diligence before you get behind here. Is this something that you really want to do? And like I said, I take notes. Sorry for the court. I don't know if you see that. I had some Jamaican food. It's the curry shrimp. But I take notes. I really do take notes, and I try to utilize my time to the fullest. I'm behind the truck for 10 hours a day. I'm behind the truck for a whole week, a whole month, and the last thing I want to do is to get in the habit where I just drive and I shut down and I don't do nothing productive. So I try to learn other ways. There's other ways to make money, um, other than doing what you're doing. So you want to be able to keep your brain running. You want to have a schedule. You want to be disciplined, and you want to learn as much as you can. Because the minute you stop learning is the minute you die. If you guys are aware of that, the minute you stop living is the minute you die. So always want to live to the fullest. But yeah, do your research. Go with a smaller carrier. Ask questions. Ask your instructors. When you're at truck stops, if you see a trucking company that you never heard of, ask them questions like, "Hey, listen, I mean, the best person that's going to tell you about that company is the drivers. I'm like, hey, listen, I want to dot 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 dot. For example, Variant. When I was going to sign up with Variant, they're tied in with US Express. I saw a young lady backing up the truck, and I went to ask her, and I was like, hey, man, I was thinking about coming with Variant. Um, looks like a credible company. Like, what do you think about it? And she told me, like, man, Varion's great. You just got to be on top of your dispatcher when you deliver your load. You call them up, say, hey, I just delivered my load, give me something else. You got to build that relationship. But other than that, it's a W-2 company where you get paid W-2, not 1099. She was making like $1,200, $1,300 a week. I'm like, all right, cool. And at the time I was getting paid, what I mean, $1,700. So I'm like, 12, 1,300. I'm not sure. But how she explained it, it was like, man, it sounds like a good company. They keep you running. They got miles. That's nothing you want to look at. You want to ask these companies, do you guys have miles? I'm not gonna get paid 70 cents per mile if I'm only making 1,000 miles a week. Do you guys have loads? Like, how consistent are you guys with loads? If you guys got loads, then I can move your loads. But if you guys don't have loads, then I can't move your loads. You're not making money, and I'm not making money. So we're both wasting our time. So that's another thing you want to ask: if do they have miles? But going back to Variant, when I was talking to the young lady, she loved Variant. Well, recently I talked to another driver that was with Variant, and he hated Variant. Like, thank you for the like. He hated Variant. He said that they missed on his paycheck, da 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 da, blah 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 blah. Yes, everybody's not the same. You do have good carriers, good drivers, and you do have lazy drivers and bad carriers. We all know that. But when you can get different opinions and put it all on one table, and you can kind of wheat from good to bad, then that's what you want to do. You can go on Google, you can do your research. Now, of course, people only leave reviews or comments when they're pissed off. Very rarely, not saying it doesn't happen, people will leave a good review. But when you piss them off, that's when they want to leave reviews. Trust me, I know. I got a lot of comments of people that were pissed off with a lot of my videos. But I also do have a lot of comments of people that were happy and to love my videos and made them happy. So you just gotta take, what I mean, to each his own. You just gotta use wisdom and discernment on what fits for you, what works for you. Don't chase the money. You know what I mean? Chase your goals and aspiration. Why are you doing this? Is it for you to get at finally pay your bills off, become financial free? Is it for you to work on your credit so you can finally buy your first property, your second property, your third property? Is it to help your family members to grow, And is it all worth it? When I say is it all worth it, is everyone up on board? Like, everybody know what comes with you being on the road for a month or 2 months, and if not everyone's not on board, you want to figure out, you want to weed out, what can we do to be on board. Like, for instance, like with me, my wife didn't like me being over the road, and I didn't understand. And I was making $2,000 a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you mean? Every time I'm making my bread, I'm sending to you. But at the same time, she's home alone. You know what I'm saying? So that it kind of puts a strain to the relationship. So I went ahead and got with a carrier that I was home every week, and I'm going to transition where I'm home every day. And that's another thing. Maybe local driving is for you. They are great local trucking companies that still pays well, that you could be home every night. For example, um, these people. Loves has hazmat trucking careers, Gemini, that you can drive and move their gas around from state to state or from local to local. Or you got your local racetrack, Wawas, what else, 7-Eleven, Shells, name all the gas stations you could think of. They get their gas from somewhere. So that's another thing you want to do. You want to have all the endorsements on your license so you can have the most um, search optimization as you can get. Get your hazmat. Get your doubles and trips so you can maybe pull for FedEx or UPS or Amazon. Get your TWIC card so you can go to the ports. If you live in Chicago or live in Savannah, Jacksonville, or down there in Miami, West Palm, you can find you a great trucking company that all they do is move containers from the port from one area to another area, or California, what I mean, Texas, Louisiana. Get your hazmat, get your doubles and trips where you can start moving stuff for the post office. You can start moving stuff for, like I said, Amazon, FedEx, UPS. Get all those endorsements, you know what I mean? Because those things are really going to help you tanker. You can move milk, you can move, what else stuff you can move with tankers. There's so much stuff you can transport with tanker. So get all your endorsements so you can have the maximized opportunity to find something that'll work for you, and you can still make great money. Hazmat, you can make great money. Those guys are making from 80 to 100K a year. Now, of course, you got to work your way up, but we all know the average American are only making 50 some $1,000s a year. So if you're making $80,000 a year, you're already one step ahead of the average American citizen. Not saying it's a competition, but what are your goals? What are you doing this for? Are you just trying to be average, or are you trying to be better? And for as far as me, I want to be better. You know what I'm saying? So there's so much things that you can do. So much things you can do your research. But I say if it was up to me, if I had to start all over again, me going to a smaller carrier that was team drive was one of the best options ever made. And then when I transitioned to the larger carriers, is kind of their system is a little bit challenging. So and how they run is kind of challenging. You're on hold majority of the time when you're calling your dispatcher or your breakdown manager and this, that, and the third. And when he do reach to you, you're probably like the 100 caller that I remember one time, one major carrier, they had 7 breakdowns, 7 trucks. What do you drive? Who do you drive for? I drive for a small company. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Tash. It was out of Orlando. It's called Tashkent. I drove for them. It's Tashkent, called Tashkent LLC. And that was team drive company. And right now I do flatbed. So yep. So yep. I work for it out based out of Orlando. But we never had any loads out of Florida. We're always California, Texas, Michigan, Ohio, stuff like that, Seattle. But yeah, so what else? Any questions? But anyways, yep, yeah. So and there was another company, Top Notch, that I worked for. They were the same company, and then they split. The owners split, and they opened up their own. I do it to a flatbed, 53% base. How many percent do you make? And what flatbed company do you work for? Yeah, I love flatbed. I love flatbed. The strapping, I don't have to worry about backing up into a dock. Not like I'm not good in backing in a dock. I can get in that dock now. I can get in that trucking park space, no problem. But I like flatbed. You know what I mean, going to construction sites and seeing people and 23 small. It's a small 2 truck fleet. Oh, you get 23% of the load. Cool. And how's that working for you? Do you like it? I don't know. There's a lot of companies that do percentage. Like I said, if they have loads, it's worth it. But if they don't have loads, it's a case to case kind of situation. I had a friend of mine. He was offered percentages with one company that promised him the world, and then when he signed up with that company, they didn't have no loads. Like he was shut down for 2 or 3 days, and they're finding $1,200 load or $2,000 load, and he's like, nah, bro, this ain't cutting it. So he ended up leaving there. But there are some companies, especially during that time when the trucking industry was like booming, um, getting paid percentage was where it's at because they're getting paid. I like it, but the lows are struggling to make. I know. I trust me. Right now, the flatbed, or this one thing about flatbed, you know this too. Around this time, from November to the end of February, it gets slow. Why? Because a lot of the owner operators, one, construction is not booming. People are, getting ready for the New Year's. You got Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve, and people are, the construction is not building like they're used to. Everybody's getting over the New Year's. They're getting ready for that new quarter, blah, 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 blah. And then you have a lot of owner operators that were doing reefer and drive van. They shut down driving the reefers and driving because of weather. You got the crazy snow that's going on up north. You got all these weather and crazy stuff going, and they all rush into flatbed. And when they rush into flatbed, like right now, they're taking the brokers. Like I was a broker now. I had a broking company. We made a lot of money, but the brokers are now putting out loads for like a $1.50 per mile. You know what I mean? They're not really paying a lot because there's so much drivers in that particular industry, and these owner operators are taking that. One, they have a low operation cost than these larger carriers. Some of them trucks already paid off, their trailers paid off. They can break even or make a couple dollars. Other than a person like me, if I was an owner operator and I bought a 100,000 plus truck and my trailer is $50,000, my operation cost is a lot higher. Where a dollar 50 is not going to help me do anything. So right now the flatbed industry is down, but the good note is typically what happens is that around March all the way until fall, the construction industry starts to pick up. You know what I mean? Especially with these builders that were struggling to get supply the last couple of years, they're now starting to get their supply. They're now starting to ramp up their inventories and orders. So hopefully by March, things will start to pick up. You know what I mean? But this market has been kind of crazy. So I can't really tell, or I can't really say what is going to happen. But if you look at the track record, March is when flatbed you should start picking up. So yeah, I mean, like you said, if you're making like $5,000 to $7,000, he gets a percentage. He gets 23% of that. And if you do the math, it could be worth it, it could not be worth it, depending on your situation. But I love flatbed. I was actually getting paid a salary for flatbed. I was getting paid 16.50 every week. And all I did was drive from Florida to Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Oop, South Carolina, North Carolina. Hold on 1 minute, guys. Don't go yet. Hold up. My phone's about to die. But yeah, I was just driving to South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, stuff like that. Come back home, and I was getting paid a salary. But right now, um, with the rates being as low as they are, it's kind of hard. So you want to? Why didn't it? Uh, is it charging? Yep. So with the rates that are low as they are, it's kind of hard for flatbed driver. I looked at Gemini, but don't have any hazmat yet. Got my double and tripping tankers and twit card. Perfect, perfect. And passport. Perfect. As well as me. I don't have my twit card yet. I have everything else. The reason why I haven't had my twit cards is I've been on the road a lot, and as you know, with twit cards, you got to set an appointment with I guess your local airport, whatever. You go through the same process, fingerprints and all that. It's sent to the TSA. But I think with twit card, I might be correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to set an appointment to go meet and do an interview with the TSA at your local airport or whatever. And I'm not I can't really give an appointment because I really don't know what time or what day I'll be back. So it's kind of hard for me to kind of analyze that or to do that. So I haven't had my Twit card. Um, but yeah, Gemini. Now, one thing about Gemini, I'll be honest with you. Where I live at, we don't have a lot of loves, you know. So when I look up Gemini and I try to see what job opportunities they have in my area, what's going on? What's going on, my friend? How your day been? But when I look up when I looked up Gemini's and their career opportunities, they don't have none where I live at. There's a lot in Texas, there's a lot in Pennsylvania, there's a lot in Indiana. Those areas have a lot of opportunity for Gemini. But like I say, um you might not be able to find something with Gemini in your area, but there are tons and tons and tons of hazmat jobs within your respectable state. So continue looking, look up other gas stations. Gemini does hotel. Yeah, yeah, I seen them a lot over the road. But for me, for some reason, they're not doing as much in Florida. Not really hiring out of Florida. But I seen like OTR for Pennsylvania. I seen that. I seen OTR in Indianapolis. But for some reason, I'm not finding any down where I stay at. But there's racetrack, there's shells, there's Wawas. You know what I mean? There's a lot of hazmat opportunities over there, man. But get your hazmat, get all your endorsements. Doesn't mean you have to use your endorsements, but just have it, just in case. You never know. I met a driver in Tennessee moving diesel from Shreveport up north when MS was low. Oh, what's up? How much was he making? That's a trip too. I hate driving out to Shreveport, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The roads over there are bumpy. Louisiana's kind of hard. Louisiana's really hard to drive in. Um, woo, 150K plus. Sheesh. That's what I'm trying to get to, man. I ain't even gonna lie. Hey, they hiring? I'm moving to Tennessee now. my company is actually based out in Tennessee. Um, we're the one I'm with right now. We're are the how can I say? We're operated on the U.S. Express bonuses, bro. Yeah, I know. What bonuses does he get? But we're operated on the U.S. Express, but we're not really tied in with U.S. Express. We have the opportunity to, if we our loads, our customers don't have any loads at a time, we can get on the U.S. Express's load board and grab their stuff. Or if our customers have loads and stuff like that, we can use our direct customers. But with U.S. Express, you're gonna run into a lot of the load's ready, and when you get to the location, the load ain't ready. And they can't tell you when the load will be ready. All they can tell you is like, hey, the workers are gonna be here at this time. You can ask them. But so far, it's been good. Um, very, very profitable. And if you guys don't know, U.S. Express has a lot of trucking companies that ties under them. Variant is one of them. So y'all are preferred carriers on. Yeah. Yep. Yes, sir. There's a lot of U.S. Express companies or companies that are tied in with U.S. Express. Variant is one of them. Toto is one of them. Um, what else is there's like that? There's like seven trucking companies that you see every day that are actually part of U.S. Express. But the reason why our company went with U.S. Express is because U.S. Express handled the majority of the compliance, like with breakdowns and all that stuff. He doesn't want to deal with it. So the owner doesn't want to deal with all the compliance and all that stuff. So we basically operate on the U.S. Express. U.S. Express does the interviews. U.S. Express does the drug testing. U.S. Express does the background checks, all that stuff. And then once you are approved with U.S. Express, then you can go and with this carrier, this company, and the other companies as well. But sometimes U.S. Express they will try to take, like let's say if you sign up with Total, you want to go work for Total, and you got to go through U.S. Express. Sometimes the recruiters will try to steal you from Total. You know what I mean? So you got to be aware of what the carriers are talking about. But yeah, man. I if $156,000 a year is phenomenal. That's like, yeah, that's where I want to be at. I could do so much with that. I can invest in so much more properties. It's not even funny. That's another thing, guys. Get into investing. You know what I mean? Get into investing into properties, real estate, life terms, stocks. Start your own 401k. Get you a financial advisor. Um, Currently, right now, I'm working with Edwin Jones. So you got a whole bunch of financial advisors, big and small, but I actually work with Edwin Jones. My wife is with them. She has tons of money with Edwin Jones tied up with them. Why did my heater just turn off? It's freaking cold over here. Anyways, um, so get into investing, but the main thing you want to do, invest into yourself. You know what I mean? Do your research, do your due diligence, look up carriers, take this seriously. I'm going to switch to Amazon Freight Partner that I got in with. Just got to wait a few more months. Oh, sweet. Well, I was thinking about my whole goal becoming a truck driver was I had a dedicated partner. It was with Pack Rat. I don't know if you guys were aware of Pack Rat are. Pack Rat's basically moving storage company. So they sell the moving containers. You can use if you're like, let's say you're remodeling your house or whatnot, or you're moving to one place or another, you can put all your stuff there. But so that was my dedicated customer, and we were making tons of money. I'm talking about I was making. There was times we were having like $13,000 checks coming in, $20,000 checks. I remember I looked at my bank account; it was $0. And then within the end of the week, it was $20,000. Facts. Of course, I had to pay carriers and all that stuff. By the time I paid all the carriers, I was left with $7,000. I had to pay my employee. I had to pay my surety bond. I had to pay my insurance. I had to pay my websites. The low board I was using truck stop. Internet truck stops is very good with flatbeds. So if you're a flatbed owner operator, you're aspired to be an owner operator, and you're getting your want to get your feet wet, you don't have a dedicated customer yet, then go to internet truck stop. They have a lot of flatbed loads. But the main goal, the reason why I got my CDL license was because I was seeing a lot of money. All my money was going to these carriers, and I was stressed out. There was times where I'll book a load. with the carrier, and the next morning they call me up. They're not going to be able to make it, or they cancel. They're doing this, they're doing that. Then I got to write to my customer and be like, "Hey, the truck broke down, but I'm going to look for another carrier." Da da da. Knowing that I need to find another carrier ASAP because I was taught you only as good as your last load. You know what I mean? They only love you as long as you're doing good. But as soon as you have that one hiccup, one mistake, you're back to the bottom. So you always got to be on top of it. But my goal was to create a relationship with a dedicated shipper, which I did, and get my own trucks where we were all in house. So that's why I got my CDL license. The reason why I stopped um, the brokerage was a lot of stuff. I couldn't be at the office every day, so I was dependent on people to help run it while I'm driving the truck. It's very stressful to drive for 10 to 11 hours. And then when you shut down, when you're supposed to be going to sleep, you're answering emails, phone calls, and you're getting called here and there, blah, 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 blah. You're up to like 12 o'clock at night. And, I mean, at midnight, and you only got 4 or 5 hours. I got to get up again and drive and blah, blah, blah. Thank you for the likes. So that's why I had essentially shut down the brokerage and just focused strictly on trucking. Because at the point, I was making $2,000 a week, like guaranteed. Less stress. It was less stressful. I didn't have to worry about this or that. I just had to do it myself. But the whole goal was to open a brokerage, sustain it, create the business account, which we did, the credit and all that stuff, get a bank card, a credit card, all that, which we did, and get our own trucks. And as you guys knew, around a couple years ago, the truck prices were 150% more than they were a couple years before that. So the truck prices were insane. Trailers were insane, and if you were able to purchase or put a down payment on a truck, they were short on inventory. So like I said, we got in at the right time as a brokerage, but it wasn't the right time as being an owner operator. And as right now, the truck prices have dropped. Have you guys noticed that a lot of the truck prices has dropped? But we are still fighting the rates. We're still fighting gas. That's another main issue is the fueling. Gas prices are still high. They're not adding up compared to what they're trying to give us as a rate. So I shut down the brokerage for the time being, but open up the brokerage was really another great way to get into trucking. That's another thing. If truck prices barely fell, yeah, they barely fell, but I seen a lot of truck prices from 90,000, 70,000, 85,000. I seen some for 45,000, 30,000. Now the low ones, if you have a restriction on your license where you can't drive manual, then of course you can't get those. You know, what I mean, those trucks that are for 40, 30,000. But like I was told was when you do buy a truck, if you plan on getting a truck, don't buy these old trucks. You might buy a truck for $20,000, $30,000 cash, and then by the year is over with, you put in $40,000 on repair and maintenance. You want to get a reliable truck that's gonna keep you running, right? I recommend Freightliners. I love Freightliner. Right now, I'm driving the Peterbilt, as you can see. But Freightliners are like the Toyota of trucking, man. They run. Freightliners run. I barely had problems or issue with Freightliners. This Peterbilt, I mean, time to time I'll get an issue or problem. Like when I got into this truck, my windshield wiper wasn't working correctly on the fob, and that's a common issue with Freightliners. They tend to go out, and when you're driving in Virginia, going up the mountain or coming down the mountain, and it's raining like cats and dogs, it becomes a problem, right? So that was an issue I got, but Freightliners are the best thing going. Um, but yeah, that's why I first started as the brokerage. It was cool. I liked it. It was fun. Really enjoyed it, and I really enjoy being a truck driver. I learned a lot as a truck driver. I'm still learning, and one thing I can pass on is when you are looking for your first company to drive for, do not focus on the money. Don't focus on the money. The money will come. Anything that you're passionate about, anything that you pursue, the money always comes after. It's the dedication, the hard work that comes in first. So as long as you have slow gratification, not instant gratification, as long as you can obtain and be disciplined to have a slow gratification, by the time you start making money, it's going to be like night and day. Like 2 or 3 years go by, you're like, damn, I'm making how much money? I mean, when I first started, I was only making X amount of dollars. You're more appreciated, right? You're more thankful for where you're at. So don't chase the money. Don't chase the money. You want to really vent these carriers out because you want to find a carrier that you can stick for at least a year. You know, don't get with a carrier that you are only barely making it for a month or 2 months and you're quitting looking for another job. It's or another carrier. It's frustrating. It's dumb. You know what I mean? And it all falls back on you. You know what I mean? You're chasing something that was irrelevant to what you're trying to really do. So you want to figure out your goals, what you're doing it for, who you rather work for. Don't chase the money because a lot of these guys are making 100K plus. They've been in the game for a long, long time. You know what I mean? 2, 3, 4, 5 years been in the game. They learn a lot. They know what to do. They know how to run the truck, how to work their clock management. They know how to where to stop, when to take their 30-minute breaks. They learn all of that from trials and error of getting into the right carrier for you and learn your trials and error where you can perfect your skills. Because the money is not in the job, it's in the skills. I don't know if you ever heard of that. The money is never in the job. The money's in the skills. Every job has a skill. For example, you can work at a construction company, right, making $20 an hour. But guess what? The person who had the skills of being an accountant, the person who has the skills of counting the company's money, they're probably making 30, 40 dollars an hour. You know what I mean? Because he or she has a skill set, right? You can go to college and become a doctor, but a brain surgeon makes more money than a regular doctor. You know, my doctor that work with kids have a skill set that he or she knows how to work with kids. Thank you for the like. They have a skill where they're gonna get paid more than a regular doctor, right? So the money's in the skills. So focus on the skill or whatever particular industry that you're in. You know, if it's trucking, what's skill sets in trucking? Hazmat, oversized hauling. Them guys are getting paid 13, 14,000 a week just to drive 600 miles, man. So, one guy I seen recently was getting paid $80,000 to transport this big old freaking government container. Now, of course, out of the $80,000, you got to pay for permits, right? You got to pay for every state you cross. You got to pay for a permit. You got to pay for your pilots. A pilot is a person. You ever seen those big old oversized trucks? They'll have a car in front of them with the flashing lights and a big old antenna, and a car behind them that says oversized. Those are pilots. You got to pay them as well. Um, but at $80,000, how much money do you think he's gonna take? And it's gonna take him 2 weeks to deliver, but he's making $80,000 in 2 weeks, and he probably can take home about 40,000, 50,000. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But the money's in the skill sets, and remember that. So when you looking for a carrier, either it's a major or a small carrier, you want to find a carrier that ties in with what kind of skill set that you are trying to attract or achieve. And if that's flatbed, you know, what I mean, if you want to get an oversized hauling or heavy hauling, you want to get into flatbed, right? Because I know eventually I want to learn how to drive these oversized trucks, and I want to learn how to drive these heavy haul trucks. So you want to get into flatbeds because flatbeds going to teach you securement. Flatbeds going to teach you how to turn that thing. ATS, I looked up too. They cover all areas. I seen ATS. That's a flatbed company. I might check them out. How's ATS like? What they average pay? I might check ATS. Um, I really want to look for more. You know what I mean? I like where I'm at. I love where I'm at. So I don't want to say too much 'cause I don't know if they're watching. But anyways, I love where I'm at. I'm just joking. But you want to look into the skill set. You know what I mean? Find a skill that's in your rip ATL cover, drive, flat, step deck, RGN, and supers. Yeah, a lot of my loads were step decks, RGN, flatbeds as well. So cool. Yeah. I might want to jump in ATS. Now ATS, are they like I know they're over the road, but what's the minimum time you have to drive? Was it 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Do you know? Um but yes, the money's in the skill set. So hey, maybe you don't want to be in a flatbed. You want to do reefer, you know. Go ahead and do reefer. Do you guys also know? Have you guys ever seen those freight liners? They got a really small, look like a box truck trailer that's connected to the freight liner. Not like what we got, where we got a get up under there and connect it to the kingpin, but it's actually connected to the freight liners. If you ever seen those trucks, it's Panther, they have one. FedEx have one. Those are specialized loads. Those loads, if you ever seen those guys carry hearts, organs, all type of stuff that needs to be delivered instantly. They guys get paid a lot of money. So if you ever seen those, and majority of the time they're team drive, right? If you ever seen those trucks, those people are making a lot of money. Those trucks are M2 business class model. Okay, perfect. Oh, can you explain M2 business class model? I'm not even gonna lie. I ain't gonna fake the funk, man. I got a year. I'm still learning about the trucking stuff. Can you explain M2 business class model? But yeah, those smaller trucks, they're specialized loads. They get paid a lot of money. They're delivering hearts, organs, fingers, blood, all type of stuff to hospitals or anywhere that needs specialized situation. Sometimes you can get into. There's another company um, that you have to be armed, and they deliver money, lots and lots of money. They're if you see those trucks, they got old school Peterbilts. They look regular, but those drivers are armed. M2 business class is a straight truck. You're talking about Panther and FedEx are the large carriers. Yeah, okay, boom. I'm gonna look that up. M2 business. Let me write that down. See, I'm learning every day, man. That's why I love you guys. You guys teach me. Let me write this down. You guys teach me some new stuff. I might want to get into that field. But yeah, yeah, those guys they're making bread. They're making bread, man. But like I said, you just want to find the skill set, find you a carrier that you're gonna be happy to work for. Wake up in the morning, learn the ropes, be respectable out there. Just know no matter what carrier you drive for, you're gonna get flipped off. You're gonna get people cutting you off. People are not gonna respect you. Don't get mad, man. We all out here chasing one dreams and goals. You know what I mean? And that's all that matters. But with that said, got 4 more minutes. 4 more minutes, we hit an hour. And I told myself I was going to do an hour live. So if you guys have anything you want to ask me, let me know. If not, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Like it up a little bit. Let's get some movement going. But I'll give you some carriers that I say are pretty good to work with. One carrier, and then, here's another thing. All right, Prime is a good carrier to work with. Stevens can be a good carrier to work with. Another carrier that's a good, very, very good carrier to work with. Starting off, they do refrigerated loads. This, what their name is? Frey Miller. That's another good carrier to work with. And this is the reason why I say that. A lot of these major carriers, the only way you're really gonna make money with them is by being a trainer. Let me say it again. A lot of these major carriers, the only way you're really gonna make money with them, I'm talking about 3,000 to $4,000 a week. And being a company driver is being a trainer. What is a trainer? Basically, these carriers are depending on you to eventually say, "Hey, listen, I got the hang of driving your trucks. I know how to work your clocks. I know how to deliver loads on time. I can train someone. Whoever gets, I can train someone new for you, right? And you're gonna have to drive with a new person that just got their license and whatnot, right? Yes, it's kind of scary because the first couple of days you might not sleep because you're gonna be sitting in that passenger seat watching this person drives because you can't really trust everyone. You know what I mean? Sometimes people can get distracted. They're on their phone. They get comfortable. They're running stops. They're real nervous. But being a trainer is one of the best ways to really start making a lot of money with these major carriers. Why? Because it's basically team driving. And the cool thing about this, the perk about this is that you're driving your 10 hours and your trainee is driving 10 hours. So let's say by the end of the week you made 4,000 miles. You guys hit the 4,000 miles mark, right? Guess what? You are getting paid 4,000 miles. He or she's getting paid their daily salary training with you. And it's up to you within a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to let the company know, hey, this I am comfortable to sign off this person to you guys. So the first week, 2 weeks, you're going to be making a lot of money. So you get these trainers that's going to want to keep you for 11 weeks. No, 11 weeks. I see 11 people. You got these trainers that's want to keep you for 3 weeks, 4 weeks because they know they're making top dollar with you. So if you do get with a major company, right? Eventually try to become a trainer. Try to train other people. Western Distribute. I don't know why my thing keeps saying it's dying. Western Distribute Transport Company. Oh snap! Is that the same as Western Express? I see them a lot too. But that's another thing. That's one way you can make some money with a major carrier. Eventually, after a year, 2 years, you can become a trainer, and that's when you're really gonna start seeing top dollar. No, what they transport. That's when you can see you can make top dollars. So that's another alleyway of making some good money with a major carrier is actually eventually becoming a trainer. So they got their ways to kind of get you to become a trainer by, you know what I mean, not paying you as much in the beginning. And then they might whisper in your ear and say, hey, if you become a trainer, you can make And like I said, you can't trust anyone that gets in your truck. Everyone has a different personality. But if you're really just trying to make that money to get to the next level, I say become a trainer and train as much as you can. You don't have to always train. You know what I'm saying? You can always tell them, hey, this week I don't want no one in my truck, or next month I'll train, or this 2 week, give me about this armor reefer. Boom. Yes. So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Those guys make a lot of money too. But those guys, you gotta be able to get a gun, a license, and those guys are hauling some serious stuff. But they make a lot of money too. So there's a lot of avenue, and once again, that's a skill. These are skills. The skills where the money comes in. And being a trainer, you got to be skilled. I'm trying to tell you guys, stop chasing the job and chasing the money. Chase the skills within your industry. The minute you master the skills within that industry, the minute you start making money, the money's gonna come. And being a trainer, it takes skills to be a trainer. You got to be able to keep your anxiety and your temperament and all that stuff to a minimum so you can be able to train this person next to you. And for you having the skill set and the patience and the will to train somebody, you're going to get paid top dollars. You will start seeing $2,200, $3,000 checks. Why? Because you have the skills. So that's what you really want to chase. It's the skill sets, have patience, look for a good carrier to work with. Um, Learn. Don't be as scared to try new things. Don't be as scared to mix and dabble with different type of industries and flatbeds, reefer, dry van, you know what I mean, step decks, whatever the case may be. Learn, 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 and try to find a niche that you love and then learn the skills within that particular niche. And when you get that, you'll start making money. But the first step you have to do is one, get your CDL license. Two, once you acquire your CDL license, look for a carrier that fits you, your personality, your situation, your lifestyle. Once you find a carrier that fits you, tied in with them, build that relationship with your fleet manager, build that relationship with the company, and learn as much as you can within that particular company. And then eventually you'll get the skill set. You either can get paid more money, cents per mile, or you can start becoming a trainer. And then once you become a trainer, it all falls onto you. What are you going to do with this extra money? Are you going to invest it in something? Are you going to buy your own truck, start your own company? Are you going to whatever? But the first step you have to do is get your CDL license, do your research, learn a niche, find something you like to do, you're passionate about within that industry, and then boom, learn the skills. Figure out what are particular skills that you will love to learn. If that's with hazmat, if that's with oversize, if that's with specialized loads, learn these skill sets. Like I said, I just learned something new. The M2 business trucks. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna look them up and I'm gonna figure out how to get into that niche and if it's something that fits within my lifestyle, my personality, and then see if it works. With that being said, you guys, I have to wake up in the morning. My load's not ready, so I shut down at the shipper. I'm not driving back to the truck stop. So I'm gonna wake up in the morning, see my loads ready. If it's not, I need to find me another load. 'Cause it's Monday, and I don't have time to be sitting down for a whole day. You hear me? If the truck ain't running, I ain't making money. You only making money when the wheels are turning. Yeah, yeah, y'all know what I'm talking. Y'all get me? You understand me? If the wheels are turning, then we making money. Remember that. When the wheels stop, you ain't making money. Never forget that. With that being said, man, I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna start getting on live a lot more. I also have a live that I'm gonna come out with. I'm gonna show you like some good products to get. Oh, I didn't want to show you guys that. Where's it at? I'm gonna show you guys great products to get while you're driving in trucks, stuff like that. Uh, especially if you're a rookie and you don't know what to buy for your first. Because I was like that. My first month in the truck, I didn't know what to buy. I went to Walmart and I bought a whole bunch of stuff that I did not need and forgot to get stuff that I didn't need. And I had to learn, what I mean, what's important, what's not important, what do you need. And I'm the type of person that I don't want to get comfortable in the truck. The reason why I say I don't want to get comfortable in the truck, like I want my essential items like my microwave and different type of clothing and sweaters, stuff like that. But I don't want like a big old flat screen TV, and I don't want to deck it out with a freaking pink rug and chandelier because I got all that stuff at home. My goal is when I get in the truck is to turn them wheels, go to sleep, turn them wheels again, go to sleep, turn them wheels, learn, turn them wheels, learn. That's my goal. Make money, achieve my goals, and get on to the next part of my life. So I'm gonna come out with another live where I'm gonna talk about some stuff that I learned that were very essential for new truckers and even veteran truckers. So I did a small video on that. You guys can watch that, but I'm gonna go more in depth and I'm gonna explain you how to use it, what's important, some stuff that can help you save money. Um, because you can spend a lot of money being a trucker, especially if you don't stock properly and buy the right food, then you're gonna be at the truck stop spending $15 to $16 a day, and that all adds up. You hear me? Especially if you're on the road for a whole week, that adds up where you're now spending $500 to $600 a month just on food and items and stuff like that, and it's half the stuff you don't need. You know what I mean? So I'll show you guys like food you should get because we have a really small refrigerator. I don't have a big refrigerator, but I typically like getting like healthy meals that I can pop in the microwave. I can eat. I don't have to worry about going in the truck stop. And I kind of stock my fridge for the amount of time I'm gonna be out. You know what I mean? I don't overstock it. I like to get fruits. So when I'm driving, I can eat a pear, I can eat a peach or a plum, whatever the case may be. So I can have a light breakfast but still have some in my stomach. And you can get chips. I'm not big on chips, but I seen guys that have big old milk jugs and cereals and all that extra stuff. I don't have time to make a cereal. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't have time to make cereals, man. So I'll show you guys what I particularly learned, what items to get, stuff like that. And till next time, I appreciate you guys being on the live. I'm gonna start getting on live a lot more. I'm gonna go ahead and go to sleep. I just want to get on live today and talk to you guys for a little bit. And thank you for the follows and likes, man. See you on the next one.